in your hands. You don't know if this is good or bad, but every season's a new season, Danny. You create momentum in a season early in the year. Do I tell you that enough? Are you bored with this? Sorry, listeners, I believe it. Colorado's season was in giant trouble after they got whipped by Nebraska. They come home against Baylor, and they throw a Hail Mary pass at the end of the game. They do it twice. Second time, they get a catch, scooped off the ground, legitimate touchdown on a 43-yard throw, gets to overtime. Baylor fumbles when a guy's going to go into the end zone. Instead, he fumbles, and it goes out of the end zone. Colorado wins in overtime, and their season was on the rocks. Instead, they won. Okay, fine. They won. Okay, they're playing around. They did that with North Dakota State. Here we go. But they went to UCF and looked like a completely different team. Danny, they looked completely different. They can't run the ball. They don't care about running the ball. They ran the ball effectively. They look like the Chiefs on Monday night. Oh, they can't stop the run. Their interior defense is a sieve. UCF averages over 300 yards rushing a game, best in the country. They stuffed the run, Danny. And then they didn't have the quarterback get hit because he had balance in their offense, and he looked like a 70% NFL quarterback. Travis Hunter is incredible.
Yep.
They played legitimate, sound, complementary football against UCF. If that is the one game, if that represents Colorado 2024, then they might win the Big 12, Danny. But they were on the rocks 5 minutes before that, the week before. I think it's you've got to create the doubt and bust through. K-State's the kind of team that could do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Go on the road, create the doubt, remind them that you don't stuff the run very well, you don't run the ball very well. Schroeder the quarterback does not like getting hit. Let's put some pressure on him. But if K-State doesn't do that, if they don't start grinding and keep it a close game or a K-State in favor, if Colorado starts having good things go, I cannot think of a team that can create more momentum because they got NFL stars.
Right.
Like Schroeder, Danny, he can throw the ball downfield. He can throw the ball short. If he gets hot, why wouldn't he just cut your heart out? So this is interesting. The good news, I think, Danny, is that Colorado will not be overlooked. Because I think many fans 4 weeks ago were thinking, Colorado. I mean, Dion, it's just so distraction led that this team's 4-8 last year. He's not ready for college football other than hanging out with Nick Saban on commercials. I don't know if he's ready for prime time, even though he's named prime time.
Right.
Everyone thought Colorado was going to be beaten by K-State and KU, right? I mean, most fans around here thought, we got them covered. Well, no, not necessarily. Colorado's playing good football. The good news for K-State is they know that. The good news, they've went to them and played at 9 o'clock. So they're going to do everything they can in their power to not have the BYU situation reoccur. And I think they have a legitimate respect for Colorado football. And so it's a heck of a game. Heck of a game. The hype should be amazing because anytime Colorado plays, the hype is there. I mean, the nation has put good ratings on the Colorado football. And I think K-State's gained respect. They're a legitimate top 20 team. And if they go win this game, people are really going to be patting them on the back. Big-time football. What I talk about a lot with you, Danny, is danger factor.
Mm-hmm.
Put Colorado's danger factor into the category of maybe the best we've ever set.
Right.
If they play their best game, can you imagine how good Colorado can be with the receivers they have in Dion and the night game in Colorado? Wow. So it'd be tough duty, but K-State's the kind of team that could fight through and do it.
Well, that should be a great game. What shouldn't be a great game is Mizzou and UMass, and maybe this is absolutely perfect timing for Missouri because they looked awful at Texas A&M, or Texas A&M was just great. I mean, just blown off the field from start pretty much to finish. I mean, to the point where Eli Drinkwitz, I don't know what the heck's going on there, but that field goal put the point total over. I don't know if Eli had bet on it. He kicks a field goal on basically the last play of the game down by 4 touchdowns. I mean, it was just an absolute ass-whooping.
Yes. It's interesting because Eli kind of had the reputation earlier in the year of making sure he scored points for Mizzou to cover spreads earlier,
Mm-hmm.
It's so hard. We can't overreact in one game. Because We've seen in college football this year, the parity's really there. I mean, Alabama 1 week is beating Georgia and looking great after Georgia looks great against them, but Georgia looks awful against Kentucky. Alabama looked awful against South Florida. I mean, what do we got here? We got a lot of even teams, and Nick Saban's no longer the coach at Alabama. And Missouri's schedule still is favorable. And this is a good example of it. where they got UMass next. So no matter how uninspired they might play against UMass, Danny, they're going to win the game and get ready to reload to where you have kind of a feature part of your schedule. And if you think over the last 50 years, who wouldn't be excited about this? How about Missouri's schedule when you name these names? Auburn, at Alabama, Oklahoma. Wow. These teams are eminently beatable, but it sounds great, doesn't it? Missouri's going to get a chance, and they're going to have to get back to work. That was their first road game. They've lived in a fantasy world, Danny. They played a non-conference and early season schedule where they're all at home. They were so much of a favorite team. Their schedule was easy. Things seemed easy for them. Question is what is the concentration level going to be? I don't think Missouri's as good as they were last year. You don't get to just say you're good because you were last year. But there's a chance that they could spark. Here's what they got to do. Brady Cook's got to go out and play with physicality. Act like you're an underdog that the fans were booing you a year ago. Okay? Go out and fight and claw. I think Patrick Mahomes plays with reckless abandon every game, Kevin. Danny, between the lines.
Either one of us.
Yeah, I'm substituting words here like crazy. Apologize for that. But I think that Patrick Mahomes does not protect himself for the playoffs. He plays to win tonight. And that's what every quarterback in college should do. And I think Brady Cook just needs to get back to that physicality, believe in himself, create an underdog mentality. Let's go out. We lost A&M. We're embarrassed. You don't think we're any good anymore. That'll be great. But the key thing is, I thought the biggest question mark about that game, because I do believe in A&M, I do know about them because of Colin Klein. Mm-hmm. And Colin and I spoke last week, and he just tells me Mike Elko is the real deal, Danny. He is like, A&M is on their way, baby. This guy is unbelievable. So A&M was ready. They're good. Colin Klein's coached against Missouri the last couple years. This is 3 in a row. The quarterback was a new quarterback with a new plan. You can make excuses why Missouri wasn't ready. But the thing that scared me the most was the best player maybe in the whole country, Luther Burden, and his attitude in that game. I don't know if you had a chance to watch it, Danny,
I watched it, yes.
He just, when he got that touchdown call back, he just folded it. I mean, his body language, his attitude, there were a number of third down plays where he wasn't even on the field. 3rd and 15, first half. Why was Luther Burden off the field? Oh, I'm a little tired right now, or I'm not into it. You just can't have that. You can't. Your best players have got to be your best guys, Danny, if you're going to fight through it. So their schedule's still very manageable, but this puts a big feature to me in a game at Alabama. You know, they need to go. They want to be a part of the college football playoff. They need to go be very competitive or even win the game at Alabama, and it is achievable if they play their very best. All kinds of question marks, but not conclusions. Okay? Let's don't conclude about Missouri, but there are definitely question marks that this season might have nothing to do with last year. Okay? That might be true. Let's wait a couple weeks to figure this out. But they could put this in their rearview mirror, like I think K-State could put the BYU game in the rearview mirror. Georgia can put the Alabama game in the rearview mirror. With the college football playoff the way it is, one loss doesn't kill you. But it just heightens what that game at Alabama means for Missouri now.
And the Kansas Jayhawks, they need to put everything in the rearview mirror, and they have the chance to do it with a bye week. I think it's a fantastic time for that. Another late loss, another crushing one-score loss. The coach is growing a beard and storming out on the field. It really couldn't be much more of a mess, but they have a game they just absolutely, if they have any designs on the season being any good, Houston is there at home, Arrowhead, but at home. So they just got to flush what's gone on, and that's not easy.
No, it's almost impossible. That's what makes football great. The panic that occurs inside the building's crazy. Every team, I talk to coaches all over the country, Danny, and we talk about the level of dysfunction in every program, pro and college football, is unbelievably high. You're trying to herd 100 to 150 people that are closely involved in your program and keep them all on the same page. That's impossible. And then you got all the outside influences, and when you lose a game, it just tears at the seams of everything you have. So Kansas has experienced all those things. There's no room for confidence. But I mentioned to you, Danny, that the only way Kansas bounces back in this season is when they let it go. When they let it go and quit worrying about what any expectations were, or if their fans care, or if they're going to make it at Arrowhead, they just got to take it all and just swallow it and say, okay, we're not very good. We're just not a very good football team. And then just start building from there. If they do that, you could put together a winning streak. They're going to be competitive in every game. It should be. This is like an NFL schedule. It's not like they now have Texas and Oklahoma lined up as their next 2 games. And in the old days, you're like, oh, darn, we're really not doing well. We have no chance of winning the next 2 games. We're done. No, they can beat Houston, you know, and they can compete with Colorado, and you go down the line. But I think what they need to do is just understand, quit the panic, quit the overreaction, and think about the program. My big message for KU fans this week is think about 2025. 2024 can only turn into a positive if they put an unbelievable winning streak together, or if they go to K-State and win that game. That could mean something to them. But other than that, you really don't want to flush Lance Leipold out and turn his program upside down and lose him in the fray. Okay? He needs to start thinking about not 24, but 25, and start developing a mentality of how we're going to play football and how we're going to react, and win or lose, this is what we're going to do. Because I've pointed out, if you go back to K-State's sequencing, Bill Snyder in 89, we didn't know who he was. He won 1 game. It was amazing. In 1990, in year 2, Danny, he went 5-6. It was competitive football. Wow. It was incredible that he had done that at K-State. In 1991, he surpassed that. They went 7-4, and their 4 losses were at number 1 Washington, national champion, Nebraska and Oklahoma when they were dominant, and Colorado, who was great. That was their only losses. Things are rolling. We got, whoa, look at this coach. He can win anywhere. That kind of mentality, a little bit like the respect Lance Leipold had. Now, Bill Snyder's incredible, but year 4, they fight and clawed, and nothing went right in the 1992 season. Bill Snyder took a step sideways. Now, he's so great, Danny, that he kicked it into high gear the next year, and he went to bowl games 11 straight years and started winning 7 and 9 and 11 and everything. The story's been written. But there was a sidestep in year 4, and Bill Snyder fought through it. How's Lance Leipold in Kansas football going to do it? It isn't going to be easy, Danny, because one thing that's happening right now is there's a lot of seniors on this team.
That's right.
Okay, he's going to have to redevelop Kansas football. What he did in 23 and 22 was incredible, building Kansas football up. And now a lot of that is going to be taken away by graduation, and he's going to have to rebuild it with the young kids and do it again. Welcome to the challenge of staying good. It's not going to be easy, but until they flush this season from their minds and quit thinking about anything in 24, just, hey, we're not very good, let's practice well today. We're not very good, let's play hard today. When they do that, they can click back in and have some wins and build for the future and maybe have some moments that we'll remember. But if they keep thinking about what is in front of them and the realities they have, they'll lose again and again and again. And the hole that they dig for themselves, Danny, is not easy for Lance Leipold to pull out of next year.
Yes, they do get to take a breath this week, however. And Stan, it's always a deep breath of satisfaction speaking about college football with you and pro football. We'll see what the Royals do this week, which will determine when we'll talk to Stan about football and how much we'll talk about it and whether it'll be Danny and Stan's football weekend. Always appreciate the time, Stan. Thanks, Danny. And like Arrowhead Stadium burst out last night singing, "Let's go Royals." So let's share our time next week as well. Let's keep winning. Thanks, Danny. All right. That's Dan Weber. This is Danny and Stan's Football Weekend. Crazy times in Kansas City and crazy good times.
We hope you enjoyed the latest Danny Klingscale Reasonably Irreverent podcast. Come back soon for something fresh and new. This podcast was made possible by our great sponsors like Advanced Sports and Family Chiropractic and Acupuncture, with 8 convenient locations in the Kansas City metro. Dr. Brad Woodall and his friendly team will improve your health and outlook with every visit. Find out more at asfca.com/Danny.